practice is over. Games will begin in 1 minute. Practice lines are completed. Games may begin. Good luck and good courage.
Come on. No, fair enough. That's fine. I wasn't sure how you do that.
All right. Michelle's got a ton of work to do, so. Hi, everyone. Well, greetings, sports fans. Bruce Freshwater here. I'm going to try and do a solo commentary because I'll try and persuade someone to pick up a mic. So, just to update you, we've now reached the point, we're starting to reach the pointy end of the competition here in the Maniototo Adventure Park curling rink here in Naseby, Otago, New Zealand. This is the Australian National Curling Championships. We're getting to the pointy end of the men's and women's competitions. We're down to the last 3 teams in each competition. So we're now into the essentially what's a semi-final, or for those of you who understand the Australian sports and their playoff system, their finals system. So this is essentially now the preliminary final. So we have one team in both men's and women's, each of those that's already qualified for the final, or the grand final, to use an Aussie parlance. So the teams we see playing right now are the 2 teams that are in each comp that are fighting out to earn that last grand final, that last final spot. We're currently watching the game on Sheet C in the women's competition between Team Williams and Team Hlushak. So Team Williams lost to Westhagen in the essentially the page 1 playoff, 1 versus 2. So Westhagen have earned the right to that berth already in the final. So Team Williams here are now playing the winner of this morning's earlier game, the other game this morning, where Team Hlushak beat Team Gallagher to earn this spot. They were in an elimination final, essentially. So here we are now, preliminary. We're in the first end. I'm trying to see if I have the luxury of overhead cameras. I sort of do. So next to this game on Sheet B is the equivalent game in the men's draw between teams Armstrong and Collins. So all to play for. Gold medal is still on for both these 2 teams. They can win through, and then they've got a final series to play. So that was 1 yellow after all of that. Which was Team Hlushak, I believe. Nope. Sorry, Team Williams got 1. I've arrived a bit late, so I don't actually know which team had a hammer there, but maybe you can tell me in the comments. I'll be monitoring the comments on YouTube for those watching on YouTube, Facebook. So the comments feed I'm going to be looking at in the live chat is going to be the YouTube one. See, we've got 14 viewers, so welcome. Big shout out to let me know who you are. Let me know where you're watching from. There's a peanut gallery's filling up here, so I'm hoping somebody might pick up a microphone, but no one's listening. So, all right. So we've got a tight centre line guard called for by Williams here. It looks like that's going to creep into the, just going to creep into the top 12. But from Kristen Solini's there, just creeping in. So maybe half a rock heavier than they wanted, but looks like Team Hlushak's just going to ignore it. They're going to treat it as a guard, and they're going to come to the centre anyway. So Grace, whose surname escapes me for now, being asked to come around. Nice line, looks a fraction heavy. No, it's starting to grow some legs, starting to dig in. That's going to come back to sort of the, I think it's just going to hang on. No, it's just going to creep through the ring. So line was really good there, just a fraction heavy. So now the same shot's been called by Williams, asking Kristen Sorlinis to do the same come around, hide behind the guard that they're going to treat that stone that's now biting the top 12 as a guard. So the line looks good, perhaps looks a touch heavy as well. And it's hanging out wider than they'd like. What we're seeing on the sheets here tends to be late curl, so there we go. Yeah, that's about a rock wider than they would have liked. So it's not buried, that stone. It's fully visible. So Hlushak could elect to hit that, hit and roll under maybe, but looks like she's playing to the strength of her thrower. So another factor to bear in mind in curling is that there's no point calling a shot that you don't think if the thrower's, it's not in their wheelhouse. So I think Grace here is happier with draws than hits. So Hlushak knows that, and Amanda knows that. So she's asking Grace to freeze to that yellow stone. Now this is wide and heavy by the looks of things. So yes, the sweepers are indicating that. So just a little heavy, just a little wide. Again, curling's a game of tiny fractions. So out of her hand, that wouldn't have felt. She'd have felt it, but it wouldn't have felt too bad. But you can see it's gone right through to the hack there. Yeah, I can see a comment on YouTube shouting out the curlews who have acquitted themselves admirably for their first ever nationals, and it's been a pleasure to have played against them and to have socialised with them. Yeah, awesome bunch of guys. I think they really enjoyed their Australian Curling Nationals experience, and it sounds like they might catch the bug and try and come back. So we'd love to see them again. Fundamentally, it's an open entry competition, and the more Australian curlers, more eligible curlers that come over here to compete, the better. It doesn't matter if you're relatively new to the sport. We as athletes just want as many games and as many teams to come as possible, because that's how we get game experience. So it's been a pleasure to have the curlews here, and full respect to them for coming. For those of you who know, we don't have dedicated curling ice in Australia, so we have to make this pilgrimage to Naseby in Otago, New Zealand, a couple of times a year, which is, a major undertaking for time and money. It's a big commitment for all the athletes here, wherever they come from, all over Oz and sometimes elsewhere in the world. So, a hit being asked here, right in the Team Hlushak. Well, it's done the first job, which was to get rid of at least some of those rocks. Got rid of the back one. I think she might have been hoping to get a nose hit, so that her red stone sat on top of the yellow one. That one rolled away, but it stayed in the rings, which is important. So that was a nice shot by Nicole there. So now Williams asking for, I think, a freeze to her own stone. You have to give me, I will use my phone to look at the team sheet, so I'm still learning some names here. It's my first time on the mic, so I've been competing so far. And Team Collins on the other sheet eliminated my team this morning, so I'm done as far as men's competition goes. Watch the space, I'll be back in mixed doubles. So I thought I'd pick up the mic for a bit. But everybody else is enjoying drinking beer at the moment, so I'm on my Todd. Hi Brad, thanks for the comment. I'm still learning how to use the scoreboard, so I'm not sure I have access to the app, so I'll keep reading the score out. So at the moment it's 1-0 to 1-0 to Team Williams, so they were forced to one, or they either stole one, I'm not sure, I arrived a bit late. So it's 1-0 to Team Williams at the moment. We're now in the second end. Team Hlushak has hammer. It was a nice hit there for Team Hlushak. Managed to get one of them. I think they were hoping to try and get both, but they've got one and they're stuck there. So I think Williams will ask her player, it looks like Sarah Westman, to knock this out and to roll back under the centre guard. So Brad Scott from WI is our tech wizard who's sets up all of the software and hardware to do the live streaming, and he would be up here, but he has the important job of playing, so he's in it to win it. So he's over on sheet B at the moment. So I would ask Brad how to change the scoreboard, but I think he would be a bit grumpy with me if I tapped on his shoulder in the middle of a game. So please forgive the scoreboard. Anyway, so it's 1-0 to Team Williams. But Team Hlushak have something brewing here, because they've got their second shot out there in the 8-foot. So now it's just about keeping the middle clear. This one's looking a bit tight on the guard. Yes, I think that one's going to crash. However, through the hole. So unfortunately, just a little narrow there for looks like Lynn. Who's that? Not Lynn Gill, I think so. So not ideal there for Team Hlushak, because that's left their stone acting as a centre guard, protecting the Williams stone that's sitting pretty much on the button. So now Sarah Westman being asked to remove that second red stone and roll under. So that's a very nice shot from Westman there. Has left a little bit of a pocket if Hlushak elects to freeze into that. So I think the hit's actually the big hole. Quiet weight shot, yeah. So they're trying to remove at least one of those stones. If they can get this, looks a little tight. Sweepers are working hard to hold the line. That is a nice shot there. That's a great, to get both of those stones, that's a great shot. And she's rolled to the wings. I think it's going to hang on. Tremendous shot from Gill there to remove both Williams stones, and roll around, although I think the Williams stone is actually still second, the Williams stone that's in the 12th foot on the essentially directly opposite side from the Hlushak stone. So there's a chance here for Williams if she wants to, to hit that one on the nose or slightly roll in and sit her 2 to force Hlushak to 1. I think that's the play that will be called here. Anybody know how to operate the scoreboard app? Because it's completely wrong. It's showing like that. Yeah, it's a work. It's a work. Yeah, I think he's busy. Perry, you got any idea how to do the score updates? Okay, well we've got Australian head coach Perry Marshall in here, who also has more tech knowledge than me. So he may do his best to update the scoreboard for us. Oh, okay. Bit of a miss there from Williams. Bit of a wide, which has opened the door for Hlushak here. Now, the Williams stone is still second stone, so if they want to sit 2, if Hlushak wants to sit... two they'd have to hit. Looks like they're being conservative. It's early in the game. They don't need. It's a riskier shot to try that hit out in the wings. So looks like they're taking the conservative play. If they can bury one behind the centre guard, then the multiple score is still a possibility. So I think they'd be looking to get this on the top button, buried under that centre guard. So I think, yeah, Amanda just backing her draw weight here over her hit. This is wide. The weight looks pretty good. Sweeper's working it hard. As long as it gets a solid 8 foot, that's fine. It's just a little wide, so it's going to be open, I think. I don't think it's going to vary much. Yeah, that's a nice shot to sit shot stone. But yeah, they'd have liked... I think just a little wide. I don't know whether that was a nice call. It was a little wide, or whether she popped it out of her hand. They would have been looking to get that tight behind the centre guard. But, and they're going to make Helen Williams is going to have to earn her corn here, make the hit. Sorry? No, it's still saying 41 to Williams at the moment. Like there's a whole scoreline up there. Like the team names are correct, but the scoreline's the old scoreline. So I'm chatting to Perry. He's doing his best to sort out the scoreboard for us. So the names have updated, but of course it's kept the score from the previous game, I think. So not sure what's going on. So Perry Marshall's taking a look at it for us. So hopefully we can get that fixed up for you soon. Nice quiet weight coming in from Williams. She's looking to hit that out and roll under the centre guard. Yeah, that's a nice shot. Not fully buried. Hlushak will be able to see maybe half of that. So a quiet weight shot here, but best Hlushak can do is she'll be forced to 1 here. So that's a great stone from Williams that sets up a potential steal here. So Hlushak's got a tricky shot here. Oh yeah, maybe we've got a couple of people. power of the cloud. Oh, unfortunately, that's a little wide from Hlushak. It was close. It was only a couple of inches in it. But that will be a steal of 2, I think, to Williams. 2. Yeah, that's the signal going up to the umpires. So that's a steal of 2 for Williams here in the second end. So that makes the scoreline 3-0 to Williams. So I can see the scoreboard changing, so things are happening. So we'll get that updated. There we go. So the first end's now correct. Second end's now correct. Or well, the first end's now going crazy. There we go. Okay, so it sounds like we've got the joys of the cloud is we think another viewer somewhere has got access onto the scoreboard. And they're mucking around. There we go. We're starting to get, so the ends 1 and 2 are now correct, and the others are being blanked out. So. All right, so here we are in N3. So Hlushak still has hammer. So obviously has given up a couple of steals or forced and then gave up a steal, but still early days. So if they can get their multiple score in this end, still all to play for. So I think the centre guard was asked for there. And that looks like a very nice one. Nice tight centre guard there. Can't quite tell. I think it is on the centre line as well, with the bonus, so that stone is protected from being moved in any way for the free guard, the 5 rock free guard zone. Yeah. Thanks, Perry. So technical glitches have been sorted out. I believe the scoreboard's now correct. So Christian Solini is being asked to, I think, just come around the... this looks a little light. Yeah, so just a little light there from Solini's. Line was excellent. So that looks like that set up an edge-on-edge centre guard. It's almost a stagger there, so that's now quite a large object to hide behind or to draw in behind. So that's what I think both teams will be looking to do. It's sort of a race to the centre now. But that last guard from Team Hlushak has actually protected their backstone, the one that's actually in the rings, a little bit. So has benefited them slightly. So draw coming in here. That looks like it's just going to go a little deep. Yes, unfortunately, just a little heavy there, Grace. Again, do forgive me, I've forgotten her surname. I should know this. It's on the draw for mixed doubles, and we're in the same pool. So, Team Hlushak, Team Williams still sitting 1, but there's still really full 8 foot to draw to. Ridge being asked to draw as well. This looks a little wide and perhaps a little heavy as well. So maybe the ice is fooling the players slightly. Maybe it's quickened up a bit. Just fooling everybody a little bit. That's okay. That has pulled up shy of the tee line. So it's sort of top 4. But it is wide. It's wide open for the hit. So that's what Hlushak's asking Hewitt to do. Will be a quiet weight shot. I think control possibly. It could be. So they're electing for control here, looking at the ice that's been given. But it could be anything from hack to board. Would also work, but it looks like the ice here is for a control weight shot. So the team must know that that's what they're comfortable with for this kind of shot. So they're looking to get just inside of nose to knock the yellow stone out and roll under the cover of those center guards. That is looking like a great, just going to overroll, I think. That was a good shot. I mean, it just maybe a slight sweeping error. Couldn't quite hold it on the broom. Not sweeping error, but they couldn't quite hold it. So that stone did what it was supposed to do, which was to take out the counting stone. But it has rolled into the open to be hit, and that's what Williams is going to ask Titheridge to do. Oh, I see our viewership's gone up to 24 on YouTube. So yeah, drop it to the comments there and just say hi. Let us know where you are and where you're watching from. This one hanging a little wide. It's going to do its job. Kind of a tiny roll, but it's still there to be hit itself there. So, but a nice shot from Titheridge. So Hewitt going to be asked essentially, I think, to do the same shot. Yes. So we're playing the hit and roll game. So it's sort of again a race to the center, but there's the hit aspect of this. The shot stone has to be removed each time. So whoever gets under there is going to be in a strong position. One looks like it's a little wide. Got some curling to do. Sweeper's staying right off it. It's going to make contact. There's a jam potential. Yeah. So just a little wide there. So it rolled out, unfortunately, for Team Hlushak, leaving Williams sitting with 1, but still very much in the back of the house. So Williams will try and come around that center, try and sit 2. Get that, then this shot will be buried for them. Thank you, Sarah, for your comment. So we have viewers watching from Dinsmore, Saskatchewan. Tony and Sarah, hi. Thanks very much for watching. So yeah, Williams now sitting the 2. So Gill being asked to draw in and freeze, possibly even come around the counting shot stone here. We have our 2 staggered guards at the front, so there's plenty to hide behind. This looks like the sweepers are staying right off, and the indication from thrower and skip is that this is wide. So yeah, yep, what happened? But I think it's got second shot. Looks like the overhead. Yep. So Williams could try and remove the that red stone that's just been thrown, but it looks like that isn't the call. Looks like she's actually choosing to draw another one in. She's going to ignore that red stone for now. And that's all down to those staggered centre guards, which are providing a sizable wall of granite to be able to draw behind. sizable for curlers of this caliber. Might be beyond the curlers on the rank, but not for these athletes on the ice right now. So that has come up a little short though. So it's doing a job, but it didn't get to the second shot. So Williams, I think, is still only sitting the one. So there's still a small pocket there for Hlushak to draw into. She's backing her team to make this draw. So Lynn Gill being asked to draw in almost sort of not quite behind everything, but behind everything that's top of the tee line. Try and get shot that way. But that's almost committing Team Hlushak to just getting one in the end if the shot's made. It's hard to see how they'd be able to deal with the 2 Williams stones that are in the top of the house. It's looking pretty good, this shot. Just doesn't quite curl enough to get shot, but it is sitting second. But Team Hlushak are starting to accumulate in the house a little bit. Now that'll be a little warning to Team Williams. Although Team Williams are sitting short, they won't want too many red stones counting or potentially counting. So you can either physically eliminate the stones by hitting them out, or you eliminate them metaphorically by just getting a good stone into the house drawn in that outcounts those red stones, and I think that's what the call is here. So most of the players here backing draws over hits at the moment. Hi Lauren, thanks for checking the coverage in, and we have family and partners and spouses watching. So hi Brad from South Australia. I think Lauren is in Ontario, so we've got a bit of a global audience starting to appear, Canada and Australia, tuning in on this beautiful little town here in Otago, New Zealand. So Williams a little wide there too, but the team seem quite happy with that. Again, it's eliminated. Has it eliminated? Let me have a look at the overhead. Yeah, so it's eliminated one of the red stones there in terms of its ability to count. Didn't quite get there. So Williams still sitting one. Yeah, just biting the button there. Hard to see how that stone can be moved right now. There is a red stone just in front of it on the center line, but it's sort of half covered by another center guard. So lots of discussion between Hlushak and Gill here as to what to do about this situation. Williams is accumulating. That red stone is now starting to look a little lonely. The second shot stone. So lots of discussion over that shot. You can see umpires looking a little twitchy over the pace of play. I think we're okay. The game has so far gone pretty quickly, so I think the team bought themselves a bit of time there. So it's worth talking these crucial shots over with, which was taking a beat. So it looks like a draw now. No one's been out on this side of the sheet for a while, so slightly unknown territory for Team Hlushak. This is looking pretty good so far. The sweeper's off it. They're comfortable with the weight. The line looks very good. Perhaps it is heavy. Fortunately, line was fantastic. Unfortunately, that's just going to go to the back of the 12. It would have probably gone out if it had the little tick. So again, Williams still sitting the 1 right in a fairly impenetrable position on the top of the button there. So a couple of options here for Williams. She could just elect to try and guard some of this up. But I think she's deciding that the best guard is a draw, so there's still room to come in there. So Williams going to try and get a second shot in there, I think. Yes. Yeah. So there's a grocery order being up here in the gallery. Grocery order being someone's running down to Ranfurly, do a Ranfurly run. So I'll have some bananas and an iron brew. Yep. Yeah, we're, thanks to the Curlews. Shout out to the Curlews who are done in the comp, but they're enjoying their time here in Otago, so they're off doing some well-earned R&R. Job well done here in Naseby for their first ever men's nationals, so they're having some R&R at the Waipata Country Hotel, so enjoying, I imagine, a beverage or two. Shout out to Andrew and the guys. What is on YouTube, you can see the overhead camera. So at the moment, the situation is, it's hard to see. It's still Williams sitting 1. Very hard to see how Hlushak can get in there. There probably is room for a clutch draw here. That's all she's got. Yeah, she just needs a decent piece of the button. We've had a request from Lauren over in Canada for some squiggle cookies. This looks very like this shot from Hlushak, so I don't think it's going to do anything. I'm just gonna yeah, just a little narrow, maybe a fraction light there. So looks like a steal of 1 to Williams. Yeah, so Williams continuing with the theme of steals. So that's Williams now leading 4-0 as we go into the 4th end. So yeah, we'll try and get that online. The scoreboard you can see on the screen updated as soon as possible. That was confirmed. That was 1 for steal of 1 for Williams. So So Kristen Sorlini is being asked by Helen Williams to put up a centre guard, I think. Possibly come into the house. They're trying to get to the centre line. Yeah, that's just going to bite the 12-foot, sitting on the centre line. So, just been asked a question from Paula. What's happening over on sheet B? So, still a pretty tight game there. So, Armstrong had hammer in the first and got 2. And then managed to steal 1 in the second. So, it's 3-0 to Armstrong. But they're currently sitting 2 without hammer. But it looks like there is room for Collins to come into. We're down to skips rocks, so this is Andy Collins' first of his 2 skips rocks. He has hammer. So it looks like he's going to try quiet weight or heavy draw to try and sit shot rock to tap one of the counting red stones out. This looks wide and heavy at first glance, this stone, but we'll see. Sweeper's backing off it. We'll come back to our feature game in a second. Unfortunately, that's a little. Oh, unfortunately, that's yeah, DISTER. That could almost spell disaster for Team Collins there. They were a bit wide and heavy, so they've actually tapped a 3rd Armstrong stone into the 4-foot there. Back to our feature game. So. I didn't actually see what happened to the first of Hlushak stones. I'm guessing it hogged. So it's out of play. So change of gears now that Armstrong's got her sort of guard in the house, setting the centre line 12-foot, and she's now got 1 in the back 8. So Grace being asked to come around the centre, try and sit on the button, top 4. Just try and be fully buried here is the main goal of the shot. Right. That's looking a little narrow, unfortunately, at the moment. So sweepers might want to just let that curl across the top, which I think it will. So now they might as well bring this into the house, if they can. Oh, it's still a guard, and it's still a free guard zone, so that could still do a job for Team Hlushak. So I think another draw being asked here by Titheridge, being asked to draw. Now this is looks like tracking in a little heavy, so it's going to go deep again. I think it's going to go to certainly behind T, just a fraction. So there's definitely backing now for Hlushak if she'd like to use it. Meanwhile, over on sheet B, Armstrong looking quite strong. They don't have hammer in the end, but they now have a cluster of 4 stones sitting in the 4-foot, or just short of the 4-foot. It's difficult to see how Collins is going to get in there for shot. So I think he's in damage limitation mode to see if he can just cut down the count. I think he's resigned himself to giving up the steal. It's just a question of how many. So I think he's looking at a bit of weight. Just to try and remove a couple, I think, is probably the best he can do. And just kind of limit the damage in this end. Meanwhile, we've got a slightly wide and heavy stone coming in from Hewitt that I think is going to get the back Williams stone. There we go, just tap that back. So again, just a little wide, just a little heavy. Collins coming and bringing the heat on sheet B. Wow, that's going to have, there's a vapor trail behind that. But I think he's flashed it wide, unfortunately, and I think that's going to be a big steal of 4 to Team Armstrong on sheet B. So Armstrong now looking comfortable over on sheet B. He's 7-0 after the third end. Meanwhile, back to our feature game. Titheridge being asked to draw in, I think. Again, the angle of Armstrong's head suggests he thinks this is a little wide, a little heavy. It's just tracking slightly. They're starting to come down the stone. That's looking quite nice. Yeah, that's a nice shot from Titheridge there. So Williams now sitting 2. But still in the open, that stone. It hasn't buried. So Hewitt will be asked to remove this stone. If they can come to nose or something close to it, they could get all 3 moving here, I think, all 3 yellow stones. So yeah, a bit of heat here from Hewitt. I think she's going to get maybe 1. Yeah, she's got the important stone out there. So essentially Williams going to ask Westman to put that stone back. As always, the atmosphere up in the bar is one of joviality. The action on the ice is gripping, and it's war out there on the ice. But here in the warm room, our strong sense of community we have here in the Australian curling community is alive and well, and there's laughter and smiles. So that's a pretty good stone there from Westman. It just came maybe a stone deep because it's slightly behind tee. So would potentially offer up a freeze, but Hlushak still likes the hit while it's still there. I think she probably thinks the opportunity to hit may be taken away from her, so she's going to try and do it now while she can. So there's still a double on there, possibly even a triple with enough weight. So Gill being asked to bring the heat. Stone coming in. Sweeper's being waved off, so it's a little wide. It may not even get the shot stone here. Got the back one. That's actually not a bad result, I don't think, because the shooter hung around. Hlushak now sitting 2 and 3 in the count. And the shot stone's still half open, so Williams could guard, but she's staying very aggressive here, and she's going with the freeze. So this looks narrow, and it looks tracking. That sweeper's being asked to call on, I think, really for line. So Cellini's working it hard, so it's definitely by. Looks a little heavy, so this is actually going to tap. But it has created a bit of room. So Williams sitting 2. That was a nice shot, but I think that the double might still be there, or it's going to jam. But certainly one of these yellows can go with weight, possibly both. So Gill being asked to remove at least one of these yellows. Yeah, this one looking a little wide. Well, that was a good plan B there from Team Hlushak. It was wider than they wanted, but they got the in off. So they removed the back counting Williams stone. So they've reduced Williams to just sitting the 1. And now that stone doesn't have any backing, so it's more open than it was. And Hlushak sitting 2 and 3. And Williams can see the danger here. So the Team Hlushak are starting to accumulate slightly in the house. They've got team stones 2 and 3. with hammer. So the 3 is still on for Team Hlushak here. And Williams will see that. I think her defense is going to be to draw another one in. Freeze her own stone. So, yeah, draw shot coming in from Armstrong. Sorry, Williams. Needs to curl a bit. The sweeper's working hard. What we're seeing that these wonderfully sharpened stones have been prepared for us here by the rink here in Naseby. And Reese, our ice technician, has given us stones that have a lot of late curl. This is exactly what curlers want, so we get exciting curling. So that stone did some of its job. It has left a very small port for Hlushak to get through. It's only just wider than a rock, but it is there. So there is a very small port for Hlushak to throw a hit through. I'm not she's going to have to throw it with quite a bit of weight to keep it straight enough, so I'm not sure she could hold the shooter to sit 3, but she could certainly hit and roll out and sit 2. But yeah, it's a very small port. But either way, it is going to remove the cover for the Williams stone. So this is a good shot to play. It's going to make the Hlushak situation better, whatever happens really here, I think. So it looks wide. Sweeper's being waved off. Oh, off. Yeah. Oh. What's happening here? Okay. Yeah, that's opened it up. So yeah, that was a little wide. It wasn't what they wanted. They just removed one of the guards, but it has opened up that side of the sheet. Meanwhile, on sheet B, Armstrong is starting to take control of the game, having stolen 4 in the third end. So it's 7-0 to Armstrong in the fourth end. However, Team Collins have something brewing. They have hammer, and no, unfortunately, they could potentially have sat 3 after this stone, but it's going to go wide on sheet B. So it's still Armstrong sitting. No, Collins actually still sitting 1 with hammer and a biter in the 12-foot, but there's an Armstrong stone that's counted second. Right, back to here. So Williams, I think, drawing again. So let's try and sit 2 again behind cover. Sweeper's saying this is up, so they're backing right off. Certainly looking a bit heavy in its tracking, this stone, but it could come and eliminate by freezing to the back Hlushak stone. So opportunity here for Hlushak. It's difficult, but they are sitting second. This is now hammer coming in. They can figure out a way of removing the counting Williams stone and keeping their shooter hanging around. They could sit 2, or they could try and pick the yellow stone out. So by that I mean, for those who don't know curling terminology, to try and hit the yellow stone with enough force to ping it out at an angle, and the shooter, the stone doing the hitting, would roll out, but at least that would give Hlushak a score of 1. So opportunity for a score here for Hlushak, but still Williams sitting 1. quiet weight coming in from Hlushak here. Sort of control weight, those things. Sweet, still a little wide. Sweet, I think we might be flashing. Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, wow. Well, they almost bounced off some of the catchers at the back to bounce up back into shot stone, but not quite. So that's a steal of 1 to Williams, I think, at the end of N4. So that's now Williams 5-0 up. 4 ends played. So they're going to go have a well-earned 5-minute break. Have something to drink, something to eat. Team conference. So certainly a bit of an uphill struggle now for Team Hlushak. Trying to figure out how to score 5 shots in 4 ends. And that's going to be difficult against a strong team like Williams. So I know you can see a little bit of sheet B on the stream there, a tiny bit. So I'll just talk through what's happening on sheet B in the equivalent men's game, where Armstrong has a commanding lead of 7-0. We're now in the 4th end with third shots, the last of the third shots being thrown. So yeah, a little bit of a mistake there from Sam Williams delivering that stone. So he took out his own, didn't get the roll he wanted, so or got a bit of a roll. So Team Armstrong still sitting 1 though without hammer, but Collins does have shots 2 and 3. So in the cluster. But they are very clustered, so a big weight shot thrown the right way could get a lot, probably get rid of both of those yellows. Collins knows that. But it looks like a little bit of what he's going to ask for a quiet weight shot here to try and pick out the currently counting red stone. Don't think he can keep his shooter hanging around, and then that would make the big weight shot an option. So. So yeah, see the scoreboard's not updating. I will see what I can do to ask someone to rectify that. So, but on just confirmation on sheet C, it's 5-0 to Team Williams. So. It's actually not a bad miss that's happened on sheet B there. They've unlocked things. They did promote Armstrong Stone to shot, but it's in the open to be hit. And Collins is sitting 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, so with hammer. So Armstrong will want to try and shut this down quickly. A centre guard is a good score, as it would be a decent. And so this is where we're starting to see some of the difference. So if you like the club shot would probably be a centre guard, but that would leave an in-off potentially for Collins. So an off-weight shot. So Armstrong's looking at trying to throw a shot that will remove both of those. Oh, I think I might be being joined on the microphone soon. Yeah, we've got the apprentice in, so left. So done a headset. I'm being joined in the commentary by Michelle Dunstone. No relation. She wishes she was.
I am related. All Dunstones are related.
There we go. So welcome, Michelle. Welcome to the hot seat.
Thank you. I've arrived. am just the work experience kid, and I can only see a bit of the sheet because there's a bit of wood in front of me.
High tech. It's a very small bit of wood. And I believe if you move your head slightly, you can see around it.
Wow.
Technology. Isn't the human body amazing?
Okay.
All right, so we're about to resume play on sheet C, but we currently have still some action on sheet B to talk about. So again, Armstrong looking to try and just remove the danger that's potentially building there for him.
Well, am I supposed to say something now?
Yeah.
Oh, right. All right, that's for those two headsets.
Yeah.
So, Bruce, talk me through what they're planning. What's going on?
You know, this is an interesting shot. He's, from Armstrong is known for he's an aggressive player.
Right.
So the club play there would probably have been a centre guard. But that's not how Armstrong plays. He was looking to take not just one option away, but two options away, which is sort of done. I mean, he is sitting two, so that was a good shot. Does leave Collins a chance to a pocket to freeze into there.
I'd definitely freeze into that pocket. But I am work experienced.
Pockets are nice places to freeze into, so yeah, there's a bit of a there's heckling going on in the peanut gallery now, and commentator down. We're a commentator down. She's doubled over in fits of laughter.
Is there a mute button?
There is, so I'm not going to press it. This is too good.
It's really unfair. Bruce won't let me use the mute button. All right,
Yeah.
What's happening with the ladies?
And the ladies, well, we had a draw into the top four, so Hlushak have to go on the aggressive side here. Now, they're 5 shots down with only 4 ends left. So, now, although a guard is an offensive move in curling, they elected not to do that. They elected to come into the house. Or rather, Williams elected to come into the house because she wants to keep things open and not have guards up front. So Hlushak could have put up a corner guard and chose to ignore it, but she's actually frozen to that. So it was an interesting play.
So for the beginners, why would you not put guards up? Is that for more?
I'm not sure, to be honest. That's why it's an interesting call from Hlushak. She needs to score, and she needs to score high. It's a bit counterintuitive curling. You'd think, I want to get as many stones in the rings as possible, but for those who don't know curling, even for the average club curler, a hit shot in curling is considered relatively straightforward. So because of that, we do like to put up guards in the early phase of an end so that we can then curl our stones in behind those guards so they're hidden and they can't be knocked out.
Yeah, so what they've done now, have they basically taken the red out of play because it's jammed in between?
A little bit of that there. I'm not sure what the call was, but that set up a good angle for yellow. Because now if the yellow stone was hit, it would propel, so the yellow that's in the top 12, would propel the red in a direction that might actually miss the counting yellow. So they've set up a stagger. Those two stones are half covering each other. And that's something to hide behind. It's not a big thing to hide behind, but it's enough, and that's what Hlushak's... Yes, they are. That was the... it looks like the sweepers are on it. It's again very... Very close. So we've got what looks like a mixed doubles end brewing now in sheet C, with lots of stones clustered in and around the centre line, setting up all sorts of interesting angles. So that yellow stone that's now counting on top of the button is very well hidden because of the 3 stones in front of it are all half covering each other.
All right, just an update from sheet B. Team Armstrong have got 3 shot rock, and Team Collins have got
Hammer left.
hammer. So we'll see something interesting there.
So yeah, Williams doesn't like so back to sheet C. So Williams can see the danger of this large clump of granite, for want of a better description.
I'm glad you didn't swear there. I was thinking of something else.
Were you? Right. I'd love to know what that was, but we'll talk about that off air. So Williams, I think, just wanting to clear things up. She wants to keep play open now for the rest of the match. So she doesn't want...
She can knock that
So she can keep hitting, and she can basically just make it very difficult for Team Hlushak. I mean, that still peeled out one of the Hlushak stones, so did a job. So a bit of heat being thrown by Collins here on sheet B.
Oh.
What would you like? What do you want? Okay, so now we have a bit of... So, yeah, I get slightly puzzled by the call here from Hlushak to... Roxin player her friend right now, so I'm a little bit puzzled by that call.
What would you have done in that situation?
I don't, there's still room to draw behind. There's not a lot of room. But draw behind the counting Williams stone, possibly, to sit one, and then that could be a starting point. It would create a bit of backing for the Williams stone, so... But there probably was room. So this end is now turned from being quite an offensive one to being quite an open one by virtue of just two stones in play now with no guards.
So what's the call for this one? Is that to draw in behind?
I believe so. Or possibly even a guard.
Very slow.
I think it's a centre guard called. So Williams now protecting her shot stone. It's top of the button. Or, yeah, solid 4 foot. So yeah, centre guard was the call here. So Williams, yeah, if she can steal another one, she'll be very happy. So that one just over curling slightly, so it presents half of the red stone in the 8 foot there.
So what would be the next move?
They're
looking at tapping that out.
Yeah, I would say there's probably putting my mixed doubles hat on, where this type of situation is a bit more common with rocks staggered on the centre line like this. So I would perhaps look to try and tap the red stone up. I think the shot is there.
I always think so. If you tapped the red enough to tap the yellow one, is that what you mean?
I'm thinking so. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, I think is the call given the weight that's just been thrown.
Yeah, and the line. But I think it's going to hit the guard.
I think it's going to overcurl, so it's going to.
And
However,
it's going to ping out. Yeah.
However, that's the decent miss, because that's now opened things up for Hlushak. So in the absence of guards, now she's just wanting to open things up so she can try and...
Are they going to put that guard back in?
Yes, so Williams is just going to replace the stone that's just been
So
removed.
buying time now, and they'd be happy with one and just see the game through with that.
I think
stone.
so, yeah.
So, Bruce, I've only come in more than halfway through the game. Have you seen any retro guards?
Oh, you'll have to... What is a retro guard? That's for those that... so for those who don't know, we're trying to create an extended curling dictionary.
Yeah.
So
I don't think there's enough terminology.
You need more jargon. So we need even more jargon in curling. We do, right. Okay, so explain the retro guard to us.
Oh, do I have to?
Yes.
The retro guard.
I believe it was your invention, the retro guard. So.
The retro guard is where I accidentally... Well, I'm told to put a guard in, and then it goes into the house. The opposing team misses tapping it out, and I get a second chance to put the guard in. So that's called the retro guard.
I love it. There we go. Retro guard, new curling term for 2025.
Skips don't really like it. Do not recommend it.
Skips are hard to please sometimes.
Careful, Bruce.
All right, so I think, yeah, a bit of weight being asked here. So we could, because all those stones are perfectly lined up, so yellow onto red onto yellow could
So they're
leave.
still in line, do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Make
I
it
think
like
this
a-
is over curling, but we
It's
might.
going to ping it left. Right, yeah.
Oh, nice shot by Gil.
That works. That changes
So
things.
let's open things up. So that's now
Still guard
Hlushak
that.
sitting one.
Tap it through.
Well, she's still got another counter, but it's difficult to remove the yellow Williams stone without removing the red.
I'd say that Sarah's very good at making these shots.
So I think it's going to be a very similar shot
But it
back
seems
that's been asked for.
indicated that it's
But
wide.
this is looking wide and heavy. Yeah, sweeper's nowhere near it. Skipper indicating that it's
Miss.
wide.
Oh, it's going to miss.
So
Right, I think
definitely opportunity brewing here for Hlushak.
Definitely.
There's
Take that.
just enough room between the yellow stone and the red that's sitting top of the 4 foot. So there's a couple of
Could
options
guard it.
here. So yeah, it could have, but again, it's about angles, mixed doubles for those who don't know that. Michelle and I are going to. Michelle has kindly volunteered to punishment and play mixed doubles with me next week. But this is the kind of thing where we want to set up an angle. So there's going to be.
What's the optimal angle? Like
Oh.
it's 45 degrees, 30 degrees?
Oh, it all depends on the situation.
Because I can't quite read staggers yet.
I love a good angle, particularly the obtuse ones. I'm very obtuse. I'm all about. Some might say I'm acute, but I don't know very many of those people, so I'll go with. So I
think I need to be closer to the mute button. Your mute button. What the hell is it?
No.
Give me that mute button.
All right, so the call here is to actually try and chip out that yellow stone, I think. The sweepers need to work this hard. That's now curling. They need to hold this line if they can.
Yeah,
Sweepers
they're gonna
working
make it,
really
they're gonna
hard.
make it, they're
That
gonna
is a great shot from Gil.
make it. Oh, if it hit behind that red, that would be
Yeah,
better.
they would have liked a little more roll because it has clustered the yellow stones, but it's now Williams cannot
Would
ignore.
those two top reds be a stagger as well or not?
Not quite, because I can see daylight through them.
Is the angle wrong, Bruce?
Well, those two stones are almost level. They're only half a stone different. And I can see daylight through them here. You could get more than a fag paper through the gap between those stones. So, not a stagger.
Not a stagger.
You could drive a tank sideways through the gap between those two stones.
A Lego tank.
Lego tank. And quite how a tank goes sideways, I don't know. But
I reckon Trish could do it in the
Yeah.
car park.
So, yeah, Williams is going to be removing stones. I think she's just concentrating on the shot stone here. And then perhaps roll under the two stones that are sitting in the 8 foot and the 12 foot. Just try and find a bit
What
of
kind of
cover.
weight would you need there? Just like a
I think it looks like control to me.
Oh, I forget what control is.
Well, for those, yes, those who don't, it's a good question. That's closer. That's control that way. So this
Is it
is.
the right angle?
It is. It's a very good shot.
But
Not
she
quite.
wanted to
would-
roll back behind the.
Yeah. So that only missed its mark by maybe half a centimeter. That's the tolerances that curlers play to at this level. Millimeters.
These rocks are very intolerant.
Yeah. Very intolerant. So William, but she did the first job, which was to remove the shot stone and sit shot herself. That's an interesting tongue twister. Do apologise to the viewers there for a bit of Freudian slip.
We will not refer to tots ever again.
So I think we're going to try and see a very similar shot from Hlushak here. That's what she'll want to do. She may even elect to roll to the wings, which might confuse those who don't know curling. But she's going to try and stop to cluster those stones together, because even if she rolls in behind those red stones, those three red stones would be very close together and could all potentially be removed by a single shot if the angles were right. So she may be trying to remove, she's definitely trying to remove the yellow stone, but she would be happy if this rolled to the wings, to the other way, to the right as we're looking at, to try and set up a multiple score that way. I think this is a bit heavy. Nope.
That's perfect.
That's pretty good. Yep.
Maybe a little bit further out. I know.
Yeah, that's good. There's still a double there, but there isn't a triple. So,
Which one's the double in the two clustered?
the two close stones can be removed in one shot. I don't think there's a triple there.
So to remove those two rocks there, where would you hit the front rock?
I would hit that front rock with quite a bit of weight, but I would hit it.
Which bit? Like
So if 12
if it was a
o'clock,
clock,
if
yeah.
12 o'clock was facing us, sorry, 6 o'clock was facing us.
Yep.
Let's do that. I would hit that stone at maybe 7 o'clock
okay.
with
So
a good
then
plenty of
The
weight.
first rock goes left. Your shooter goes right onto.
Yeah, and it propels that one right, and then the shooter would still have enough energy to redirect out the back of the house. But I think Williams here, she's looking to still, she needs to hang around, so she's going to be removing this, and I think she's going to look for a little bit of a roll, maybe roll to the wings. But she wants to be shot after this stone, I think. Forcing Hlushak to deal with it, because with it, this is
So at the minimum, forcing Hlushak just to take one.
if she can, yeah, she needs to go undercover. This is a good stone. It's going to get a little bit, not quite.
Oh, okay, so the intention really there was to come right behind those doubles.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now there is an open hit for 3 for Hlushak. And then she'd be right back in this game. So, good end,
Sure.
Hlushak here, fighting hard.
Wow.
Meanwhile,
So
on
much
sheet,
pressure.
meanwhile on sheet B, Collins are fighting hard, but Armstrong's still in control of that game. Collins are sitting shot. No, Armstrong is sitting shot, but in the back of the house. Second counter on sheet B is a Collins stone in the front of the house, sort of on the centre line in the top 8. That's a very usable spot, and there is a centre guard that's half covering things. So still something to work with for Collins. Anyway, back to sheet C. We've got the open hit here for Hlushak. It's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Sweepers seem
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
She just needs to hold it.
Oh,
Just hope that doesn't Well,
Oh.
there we go. So
Yeah.
3, good score of 3 to Hlushak there. They're back in this. They're only 2, so it's 3 to Hlushak, 5 to Williams, going into the 6th end.
But, so I guess in mixed doubles it's kind of good to have the hammer on the even.
Exactly.
end?
The same in any
And
curling.
same in any
All
curling.
curling, yes.
Right, so explain that to me, Bruce.
Well, so for those who don't know, and I know we have some curlers, but for the non-curlers, hammer is the name that we give to the final stone, the final shot in an end of curling, because it's powerful. Think of Thor.
What if the hammer was made of plastic?
Well, then it wouldn't be powerful, but then we're talking curling stones here, so I'm getting confused by the slight segue into plastic. But,
Okay.
so we call the final stone hammer. So when we have hammer, the last stone advantage, we don't want to only score one shot with it. We want to score more than one shot because the hammer is valuable. So we're trying to engineer multiple scores. So when we have hammer, we want to try and score 2 or more.
Yeah, and the relevance to the even ends.
Well, if it was the even ends, then the last end is end number 8. So you would have hammer in the last end of the game. So at the moment, because we're in end 6, Williams have hammer, so they have 2 hammers left, potentially. If they were to score 2 here, give up hammer, give it back to Team Hlushak, they'd only have 1 hammer left in end 7, and then Williams would get it back, and they'd still have the power of the hammer in the 8th end.
Power of the hammer.
Power of the hammer. So yeah, hammer and even ends, particularly towards the back half of a game of curling, is important. So yes, as a result, Williams is in a strong position here because she has hammer in the 6th and she's 2 shots up. So that one crept into the rings. That
Was that supposed to be
that would have been a guard because of this course. So why is putting up guards important at the start of an end of curling, Michelle? Can you explain that one?
Probably not. I got stage fright.
Honestly, okay.
You want to score, right?
Yeah.
And you need to put them behind guards.
Yep.
So if you've got...
So do we have a rule to protect guards?
Oh, my God, do we have to go through that? The 5-guard rule.
Yeah.
So if your first 5 rocks can't be... after the first 4 rocks can't be hit out. 5th rock. Oh, no. Now I'm getting confused with myself.
Use your words, Michelle. For the first 5 stones of an end,
I've got 10 words.
any stones that are guards can't be hit out. There's special rules that protect them. Because weirdly in curling, a guard is an offensive shot. It sounds a bit counterintuitive, but guarding is offensive. And because...
So it's good to be offensive.
It is, absolutely. We love being offensive.
Are you good at being offensive, Bruce?
No, I'm mild-mannered. I'm good at being obtuse or salty, apparently.
That's your nickname from Steve.
Yeah.
That wasn't me. So is that...
So now we have a
sitting
centre
on
guard.
Centre guard, okay.
We have a centre, and it's also on the centre line, just a bit of it. So that's also important because centre, if you're covering the centre line as well, that cannot be moved at all. That stone for the first one can't be moved off the centre line at any point. So it can be moved up and down the centre line. So Hlushak's now got something to work with. She's got a centre guard. This one looking a little wide and heavy from Solini's.
I think it's going to it could curl up to the back.
So it's just going to come to T-line. So that was perhaps just a fraction heavy, and it's wide open. So, yeah. Call from...
Is that a tap and roll?
Hlushak is going to be a hit and roll.
Hit and
yeah.
roll.
So
Is there a difference between a tap and roll and a hit and roll? Oh,
there,
I guess
yes,
would a tap stay in and a hit would go out?
that's exactly right.
I think I'm getting it.
We might upgrade you to like unpaid intern from probation at the moment.
Actually, fun fact: Australian working rules. I think even work experience kids get paid. By the way,
Well, it's lucky.
Just saying.
It's lucky we're in New Zealand then, where slavery is still legal, I believe. So.
Oh, they lost their shooter, and they
Unfortunately, that just overcurled from Hewitt. And unfortunately, yes, so that didn't work out very well for Hlushak. They lost their shooter, and it's separated the 2 Williams stones now. So there's.
But I feel like it would only need to be 2 centimeters across to get that hit right. Like, you would need to have hit the rock on a different part.
Yes.
The yellow one, right? But how far across?
I don't know. I can't remember.
But,
I can't
but you're the main commentator. You get paid more than me.
We need the angles expert. Get that 3rd headset in.
Is there an angles expert?
Angles expert.
You turn my mic down.
It was fluttering at the top. So we have flutter on the top and a bit of wow on your bottom, which we don't want.
And I assume that's actually tech talk for some kind of sound engineering thing. The wow on the bottom.
Yeah.
Bruce,
But
you might want to explain that really quickly.
But it sounds suggestive, so obviously it is.
I don't get it.
So Williams now just removing guards, so she
can start pinging out other ones.
So basically, there's very little for Hlushak to work with here. She's got stones in the house she could freeze to. She could use that stone at the top of the house. She could use that, try and treat that as a guard in the house.
Could she come in behind?
Yes, exactly. So she needs to
would
generate offense here. So, but she's electing to remove. I'm a little puzzled by this call.
Maybe I didn't. Well, are they trying to hit and stick
They're
to
trying
it
to hit
and then come around it as they're going?
They're trying to hit and stick.
Maybe no.
Yeah, but they're relying on Williams to miss,
Yes.
and
And
this Williams team are good at hitting. So I'm a little puzzled by the call, but there were still plenty of stones in the end. So maybe Hlushak decided it was a little early in the end to go full offense and try and freeze something or come around.
I still would have come around because it would be harder for them to tap theirs into tap the yellow into the red to get the Hlushak.
I think it depends. I mean, I think playing the person in front of you, Hlushak knows the strength of the Williams team, and they're good at those tap shots, throwing these upward shots.
Technically speaking, wouldn't a tap shot be harder than a direct shot?
I think possibly. So this one's over curling slightly. It got enough. So that, it almost got the back one. So Williams just cleaning house. Very professional shots being thrown. Meanwhile, Team Armstrong in full control on sheet B. 10-0 up into the fifth end. Looks like they're sitting at least one, and there's a massive wall of granite at the front of the house. So
Great wall of granite.
Yeah, wall of granite. It's difficult for Collins to get in there. So. Meanwhile, back to our feature game. We've got a hit being called. So possibly Hlushak could switch gears here, and she could look to blank this end, but or somehow force or hope that that Williams blank it, and then the hammer would switch the odd and evens. Unlikely to happen.
But if you blank it in fours, don't you keep it? Keep the hammer?
You do.
Is it?
But then then it's an odd end.
Okay.
So then Hlushak
Circling
could
back
have
to my amazing question.
Yeah, but then Hlushak could have hammer in the eighth end, but would be down by probably 3. But they might fancy then to score. They've scored a 3, so maybe they fancy scoring 3 in the eighth end and then fancying their chances stealing in the extra end that we have in curling.
So would it just be, it would be better for Team Williams to just stick to having one in this?
I think Williams would. Yes, Williams would take a 1 at this point. They'd be
to ensure they have the chance of hammer.
They'd just play the scoreboard. They would then be 3 in front with hammer in the eighth end, or would likely have hammer in the eighth end.
And I like the position that they've put that in there, because you don't really want to come behind it because it might not be very high scoring. Is that the intention?
I think a guard was probably the call from Williams there, but so a bit of upweight coming in from Gill. And for those who may know, of course, curling around the world is often a family affair. So Lynn Gill is the mother of Tali Gill, of course, the decorator, the Australian Olympic curler, playing with Dean Hewitt, who went to the Beijing Games in mixed doubles curling. So the Gill family all curl. Lynn and all 3 of her daughters. So. Well, it looks like on sheet B that Collins has managed to nick a point. Which is good. Nobody likes to see the donut. It's the only.
Explain the donut.
It's the only time I never want to see a donut is on a curling board. Is a 0 in that total column. Other times, every other time, I love to see donuts, particularly if they're my donuts or donuts that could be mine.
We got donuts in the car park.
Yeah. So congratulations to Team Collins there. They've at least got their point in the 6th end.
I call it the dignity.
The 5th
point.
end, the dignity.
I do.
I love the dignity point. It's nice to have the dignity point.
Woo! Oh, Brace, you're on my lead.
Oh, I'm on your lead.
I can't Mexican wave, just for the crowd.
So yeah, just the
YouTube.
peanut gallery here is getting rowdy. There's Mexican waves happening. So and the
definitely Bay 13 to our left here.
Yeah, Bay 13 to the. For those who don't know, the hallowed MCG, the Melbourne Cricket Ground. The rowdy bit was the historic Bay 13 in the old days, and even when they rebuilt and put the new stand in, that area of the ground is still the rowdy bit. It's Bay 13. We've got a bit of Bay 13ing going on in the bar here. So hit coming in from Hlushak. It's a little heavy, but I think it's going to curl enough to. They just want to roll in a little. Yep, that's done enough to stay in the rings. That was important that it still hung around and bit into the rings. So it's just biting. But Williams is choosing to ignore it, and she's actually preferring the draw behind her own guard rock there. She could just elect to hit that red Hlushak stone and just remove it. But she's going again. This
so she'll draw in behind her yellow guard.
Yes, which is an offensive call. He's going, you know what? I'm going to sit one and I'm going to make you deal with it. So that shows confidence, because this shot, if it goes wrong, could set up a multiple score for Hlushak, possibly even a 3. But Helen backs herself with this draw to fully bury this stone behind the guard.
So she had the plan.
She has a plan and she has the confidence. She has the tools. She has the talent. She has the team. The curling trifecta. So this is looking a little heavy.
You might have mentioned 4 things there.
Oh, it's a bit like science fiction trilogies.
Is that where you learn all your biochemistry from?
Yeah, and counting.
You don't need a university degree, just read science
Just
fiction
watch
books.
Star Trek, yeah.
Oh, just watch it. Oh.
Although interestingly, if Star Trek isn't science fiction, truly, it's a drama set in space.
I don't know
just
what
to be
the difference.
deeply pedantic.
Okay, so could you please explain the difference?
Well, in true science fiction and fantasy, one has to establish a consistent universe of discourse with a reality that doesn't change. You can't randomly create plot devices halfway through a.
Yeah, but you can't force
plot
that
arc.
number of people to wear skivvies either. Like, it's not possible. Oh, unless it was the 70s. I guess it did come from the 70s.
The white wine is starting to flow. The beer is starting to flow. This point in proceedings, of course, where a significant number of athletes are no longer involved in the comp, so they can kick back and kick their heels up. They've earned it. So the gallery is getting rowdy up here. There's one, if they're not curling, curlers like drinking with other curlers. So that's a nice shot there from Hlushak. It's still...
So they were really wanting to tuck in...
Fully
behind,
bury, yeah. However, they're still sitting 2 without hammer, so the force is still on here. In fact, that's a great shot. The force is definitely on here.
What do you mean by the force is on?
The
Than
force is on with this one, so it's not a
not
Star
talking
Wars
Star
reference,
Wars, right,
which
okay.
one might assume, given the rest of this conversation, and my love of science fiction and space fantasy. But in curling, as I said, the hammer, the last shot advantage is valuable. So we normally, when we have it, we don't want to score only one shot with it, because we'd expect to do that with hammer. So,
Could they... So what's the shot that they're calling now? Can they, like...
So Helen again will play the scoreboard and will take the 1. So she's using quiet weight here, just to. Looks like she's drawing to that stone. So this is draw weight, but because she has that stone she can afford to rest against that stone if she's a little heavy. So she's using that stone to her advantage.
Oh, so it's a buffer in her weight.
Yeah, bit of backing. Oh, but sometimes you can get... No, see, that was why she did that. She threw it a little heavy. She had the backing of that stone.
You don't have to be as perfect with your weight.
Yeah.
But that would be a different scenario if the red rock had been in front of the demon.
Absolutely. She'd have to make dead weight draw. So, yes, that stone from Hlushak came a little deep. Anyway, so so William's still forced to 1 there. So she's looking comfortable going into the 7th end. So that's 6-3 now on sheet C after the 6th. So Williams with a lead of 3, but is likely to have hammer going into the 8th. But if Hlushak can score a multiple in the 7th end, take it to 6-4, 6-5, maybe even tie it, they'll fancy their chances.
Well, you just got to keep curling.
Yeah. Oh, you've got to keep curling. We're here to curl. So for those of you in the fortunate position to live in countries that have curling rinks, may not be aware that the entire continent of Australia has no dedicated curling facilities.
I had a dream last night that we did.
I've dreamt about things like that before, Michelle. I think it's a common dream shared by curlers in Australia.
I have a dream.
Yeah, we have a dream. So, which is why we come to New Zealand to hold our nationals. So because of that, we prize and we value curling ice and the ability to curl on curling ice very highly. So let's curl. We're over here. So even sometimes if a scoreboard starts to look a bit forlorn, Australian curlers will continue to curl.
Right, what's the shot now? Drawing
So in Hlushak, again, not a lot to work with. So they drew into the house there. No, Williams has drawn into. So Williams is.
I would try and draw in behind.
There's not a lot of room to do that. So I think the freeze is the call here. So
That also makes sense.
So Williams can afford to be. It's actually more defensive now. She wants to keep things nice and open. She doesn't need to put corner guards up to try and score.
This is not going to
So
reach
unfortunately,
the
this
house,
is looking a little light. It's going to be a guard, and it's going to be almost a corner guard actually, which is kind of what Hlushak would want. Team Hlushak would want to have.
Can you explain that? Like, if you got hammer, where you put your guards again for the 14th time? I do listen.
General theory in this is traditional curling, fours curling, where we start with a completely blank sheet of paper for every end, is that the team with hammer want to keep the middle of the sheet open so that when it comes to that hammer stone, that final stone, they can draw that into the middle. But of course they don't want to just score the 1 point with that. So what they're going to do is to use the first 7 stones of the end to try and get a stone or 2 in the wings to the side of the sheet that would be their second point, in quotes. So second or third point, yes. Generate those extra points out there and then hopefully just draw in at the end.
That's
to get
definitely not what I did.
So, and that's why the team that doesn't have hammer tries to keep play to the center to try and prevent. So you're trying to force the opposing team to only take 1 shot when they have hammer.
You've got to try and remember this. So you hammer the center. If you don't have a hammer, you guard the sides.
Other way around.
Oh, for goodness sake. Maybe the best way of learning this is just to do it.
Yeah.
Is it the same in mixed doubles and in fours?
Well, no, that's a good question, Michelle. Thank you for asking. So in mixed doubles, mixed doubles was created as a format to be faster because we live in a world now where people, shorter is better, for better or worse. That's the world we live in. And also people like higher scoring. So one of the ways to make a higher scoring format is to start the end with stones pre-placed in play. So traditional curling, you start with a blank house. Whereas in mixed doubles, we have 2 stones that are pre-placed, one in the house at the back of the forefoot and a center guard. And that automatically starts bringing play to the middle of the house, getting rocks in play because you've got that offensive guard and the pre-placed stone. So
Yeah, so you can like sit on that stone
at the back, yeah.
if you're clever.
And then, so mixed doubles games tend to have stones
That was
lined
really
up.
Nice peel.
So
Do you think they could have left the shooter in there, or they just didn't care?
they didn't. They again. It's not. You'd rather not leave your opponent anything to work with, and even your stones in the house are something your opponent can use against you. They can freeze to them.
So
They could draw behind them.
Shot, could they use the yellow to go into yellow? And would that be the aim of that there?
Well, it's difficult for Team Hlushak here. They need to generate offense. They've got to try and score. So I would actually be trying to use those stones to my advantage. So I wouldn't hit them out. I would try and use them as backing maybe. I would try and freeze to them.
How would you use that front yellow to back onto if it's at the front of the house?
Well, it'd be a tactical, a setup shot. So you wouldn't necessarily gain from that shot right now, but you would gain from it later. So, but Hlushak's and she's keeping things open. But she has rolled to the wings, so she herself is keeping the centre open. Fortunately, there's no guards out there. But she's now got her second shot, in quotes. And, if Team Williams were to miss this shot and leave that red there, then Team Hlushak would move the play back to the centre, concentrating on that yellow stone in the 4-foot, and they could sit there too that way. But we know the accuracy of all the players in Team Williams, so it's likely that they'll make this open hit. Again, it's considered a relatively straight forward shot. But I think that may roll out. No, it's just going to hang on. So that was a very tactical use of weight there. So they didn't throw a bullet like a really fast shot. They used a weight that was enough to remove the counting rock, but it meant the shooter had less energy, so that when it rolled to the side, it stopped quickly and it's still biting the rings. So a very nuanced shot there by nuanced, yes, an important concept in curling. That I've generated. This is my own invention. So obviously, nuance is not a concept that exists. It is a word, yes. So it's not as technical as your retro guard, but the idea of nuanced curling, I'm going to write a book on it.
Okay. The
Art of Nuanced Curling
I'll wait for the video.
By Bruce Salty Freshwater.
Right, so what are they doing now? Going to come in and
Hewitt doesn't look very happy with herself here. I think she's overthrown this stone. I think it's going through the rings. She was looking to freeze onto that yellow stone that's in the back 4-foot. She's not happy with herself there. But it's easy to do at this stage again. The adrenaline's pumping.
Especially if you've been sweeping.
Yep, you've been sweeping. Your heart rate's up. So some people liken curling, would you believe, to Nordic biathlon.
Yeah, that would be me.
Yes.
Why wouldn't I?
I would not. Well, because some people might think curling is sedentary, but we know better, don't we? We know that curling is a cardio sport.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
Because I know I have to sweep your rocks and stuff, don't I?
Yes, you do. Yeah, ask my men's team about this. I throw to my sweepers, so I throw light because I have sweepers that can make those stones go a little further. So that'll be your job.
Righto. Could you just throw the perfect weight, please?
I know. I believe that helps. Yes. So.
Thank you. Because I'd do that for you.
Oh, would you?
All right. What's up next, Bruce?
What's happening here? Well, so at the moment things going very much to plan for Team Williams. They're keeping things very open. There is a guard, there is a corner guard out front. It's their guard, but it's still something that Hlushak could use. However, they currently have the 2 rocks in the rings, nowhere near that guard, so it's very difficult for Hlushak to... I think the freeze was the call again, so in the absence of a useful guard, Hlushak's turning to the stones in the rings.
As she's saying not to sweep, it's not going to curl enough.
It's going to get pretty close. I think it's going to bounce and tap, unfortunately. It's just a fraction too heavy, this stone. Really good try. Freezer's a very, very hard shot. Nuanced, some might say.
Yeah, but you can't use the word nuanced twice, because then it's not nuanced anymore.
Oh, true. I'm over-nuancing the situation.
It's like...
That creates a bit of a paradox. I'm over-nuancing. By over-nuancing, I'm under-nuancing it.
No.
Thus creating the nuanced paradox. So that...
Do you have any other words?
No.
I mean, you got heaps more words than me.
Lots of words.
And you know how to pronounce them too.
Yeah. I'm very proud of my pronunciation.
It's hard being Australian, okay? It's really hard to know how to pronounce words. They're hard. So, shot is
a freeze. Yeah, freeze again. The only thing that Hlushak's got to work with here is that stone that's in the back 8-foot.
I think they get any faster. I think they want to get to the bar pretty quickly.
Yeah, that also looks like it's heavy and wide. At this stage of the game, the ice can be pretty quick. It's been polished nicely with lots of good sweeping.
Are you saying the rocks want to get to the bar?
Well, absolutely. I mean, they get, well, I think they're just sore.
They're over it.
They're just bashed around.
Being bashed around by
They didn't
Aussies.
ask for this. They were sitting, in a lava flow for tens
Tell me,
or
where did the rocks come
hundreds
from,
of
please?
millions of years, quietly sweeping. And these will be Scottish stones because they're world curling stones. These.
Where do they come from?
So these come from an island called Ailsa Craig off the west coast of Scotland. They've come a long way, these stones. But there they were, sitting quietly in a basalt column for hundreds of millions of years, not harming anybody, and then they got turned into curling stones, and now they're bashed around on a daily basis. They didn't ask for that.
They didn't. There's just such little respect.
Yeah.
But they might like.
Well, maybe.
Right, what's the next call? Are they going to come in and sit on freezing their own again, or what's the call?
So yeah, score update again. I'm not sure who the scoreboard's actually controlled by an app that is not on either of the commentators' phones.
So Team Williams
So
is
two-
6.
Yeah, Team Williams are at 6-3 to Team Williams. We're in the bottom of the 7th, to use a baseball parlance. And it's all over on sheet B. Commanding win for
All over Red Rover.
all
Red
over,
Rocks.
over on sheet B. So Team Armstrong advance into the final to play Team Milliken Johns.
The Olympic dream is still alive.
So yeah, there is an Olympic pathway. It's a long and winding pathway for the tears and empty bank balances, but it does exist.
Hats off to Andrew Gaff for winning a bronze medal and only curling since March.
As a debutante, yeah, absolutely.
What's he going to do next year?
Gold, I think.
Or just another sport, maybe. Take up BMX riding. So much talent in Australia.
So anyway, back to our feature game. So Williams still in a strong position here. Team Williams 6-3 up. Lying 3 currently, albeit fully open. But of course, Hlushak needs to generate offense somehow. So I think maybe the timeout being called. So team just discussing the options. They've got skips rocks left. They're just looking at where they can try and place their stones so they can't be hit out easily by Team Williams. Somehow to generate. They'll want to try and score there 2 here, and then go in and then know that they need to steal 1 or 2 in the last end. So they're just assessing their options here with one stone.
Well, I like how they're all chatting about it together.
Well, absolutely. Curling is a team sport.
Oh my God, really? Right.
Yeah, whilst the skip is obviously an important figure in a team, their power is not absolute. And all the best curling teams in the world work and function as teams, particularly when it comes to talking options, seeing shots, suggesting shots.
Yeah, so what would you do if your skip suggested a shot that you didn't feel confident about doing?
Well, hopefully there'd be an atmosphere in the team where they could call that out and say, I don't feel comfortable with that. You can only call, the skip can only call a shot that the thrower feels they can make.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're still chatting. How long does the timeout go for?
Timeout goes for a minute. But this game has been running fairly well to time at the moment, so there's plenty of time on the game clock. So even though the timeout may have finished, there is no coach for this team, so obviously the coach would have to disappear at the end of the timeout. But because there was no coach, the team can still chat for a little bit longer.
Did many of the teams have coaches?
Not many. Again, and I mean this in the kindest possible way, the amateur nature of curling, particularly here in Australia, is most of the teams don't have the luxury of coaches. Coaches are usually there on a voluntary basis, friends, family, other curlers sometimes. So, I think the call here is probably a freeze to the stone that's sitting in the top 4 foot. A sort of setup shot.
It doesn't seem like it's going to get past that guard, but it will on this ice.
It will, this.
It's going to be quite lightweight.
Wonderful ice and wonderful stones that were recently sharpened. The stones, and so curling stones are sharpened.
Like brushing their teeth.
Absolutely. Yes. So so for those who don't know, the running band, the relatively small area of the stone that's in contact with the ice, can be sanded every now and then to freshen up the stones.
It already looks in line for that back one. So I think they have to sweep hard to keep it.
This looks a little light, so sweeper's working very hard. It's going to over curl slightly. This.
Will it back into the other
This
one
is
at
a
the front?
pretty good count. So sweeper's working really hard. Just coming up a fraction short, unfortunately. So I believe it's still third shot. So yes, unfortunately it's third shot, that stone. They would have liked that to have been second shot.
Yeah. So with what they've got, there's really no way of scoring. Okay, so they don't have enough rocks to score more than 2, depending on what Helen does.
Yes, so absolutely mathematically, there's only 2 red stones in play. One is about to be played, one is there in the rings. Williams could try and just hit that out, but she's actually she's going for the jugular here. She's ruthless. So she's throwing a draw. She's trying to get another one tucked because there's a slight stagger between the red stone and the 12 foot, and the yellow stone that's in the sort of touching the button. She's thinking she could come in behind those.
I think it's going to come up short again. Do you think it's cooling down?
Possibly. But a guard is not a bad shot here. That's a good plan B. Wow.
Well, that's seating third shot.
Well, that's good. So William, they're a strong team. This team, they won the B division of the Pan-Continental Championships last year.
Well,
to promote Australia, so they've been to the big show, or they're about to go to the big show. They've been to the small big show. Very experienced. The small big show would be the B division of the Pan-Continental Curling Championships. And they won their way handsomely out of that to earn promotion back to the big show for Australian women's curling. So this Williams team have been there, done that, very experienced. Take it all in their stride. And Team Hlushak are putting up a game fight here against the juggernaut that is Team Williams.
So if they take that line and then just go to the left a little bit, do you think that they could just get one and tuck in behind?
So I think Team Hlushak here they're acknowledging they can't score more than 1 here. But they're going to try to do that, and then they're going to have to somehow figure out a way of stealing their way to a multiple. How
many would they need to steal? 3?
Well, we'll see how we go here. They just, well, let's see. This looks wide, and I think it's all over. It's going to crash into the guard, I think. So that's going to be a steal of 3 to Williams. We may, in fact, see a handshake here. Yeah. And we're seeing a handshake here, so final score would be 9-3 there to Williams. With Williams sitting 3 there at the end of the end. So that's final score 9-3 to Team Williams. They will advance to tomorrow's finals.
I think people are going to be standing in line for the headsets for that game.
Absolutely. I think we may need a rota. Or possibly a roster. I'm not sure what the difference is. So, anyway, I think that...
oh my God, Brad's going to mute us. That's fine. You can mute me, Brad, if you want.
So anyway, so we're going to sign off here. So, all right, I was the guest. There we go. So that's thank you, Michelle, for your. It's nice to have the company on the mic here. think it definitely adds something to have more than one voice. Certainly not just me. So thank you for listening. So that's us done here for the day here in Naseby. We know who our finalists are in both competitions. So in the women's now, we're going to have Team Williams playing Team Westhagen. And in the men's, we've got Team Johns Milliken playing Team Armstrong. So I hope we will see you again tomorrow as our finals series begins. It's best of 3 finals. Potentially, it all depends on the round robin results, but potentially there can be a lot of games in the finals series if the results go the right way. But please come back and join us here on Curling Australia's social media channels, and we'll find more commentators. We'll try and get Perry back on the mic, and we'll certainly get the Curlews, get that dynamism that they've offered us. It's a whole new dimension in commentary that the Curlews have been able to offer. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you again tomorrow.